right. Move to return from exec session.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. Thanks everyone for coming out in the rain. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. All right. First up is our public hearing on the comprehensive plan. PJ, Paul, why don't you guys kick it off?
There we go. So, good evening. Thank you all for your support of the comprehensive plan throughout the entire process. I know all three of you have been involved quite a bit throughout this entire process, so thank you for that. So the comprehensive plan was unanimously approved by the Zoning Commission on January 24th. There were a few language changes and a few clarification edits that were recommended by the Zoning Commission. Those changes have been made and are reflected in the new comprehensive plan draft that you all have in front of you. They have been redlined, so you can easily go through and just show those changes from Zoning Commission. The plan has been up on our website for a few months now, so that did invite a few residents who submitted changes to us. Those changes are also reflected in the new draft plan as well. They have been redlined in there. A little bit of the plan history. So again, this has been about a year-long process. We have consulted with McBride Dale Clarion and Planning Next, and I have Liz Fields from McBride Dale Clarion here as well. So again, this is the third update to the comprehensive plan that was first adopted back in 2005. So we try to update this plan roughly every 5 years. And this comprehensive plan update does take into consideration the different area plans and specialty plans that the township has put together, including the Public Art Master Plan and the Kellogg Gateway Study that was adopted last year. So with that, I'll kick it over to Liz with McBride Dale Clarion to go through the planning process and some of the planning goals.
Thank you, PJ. It's great to see you all and meet the new trustee. I know I've seen Trustee Stone and Girth before during this process. So I'm going to run through this pretty quickly, but if there's any questions along the way, please stop me and I'm happy to go into more detail on anything. So we've been really enjoyed this process working with Anderson Township on this update. Obviously, we have been involved with the previous updates, and hopefully we can continue to be involved in future updates. So this process was really guided by our 40-person steering committee. It's a very large steering committee comparatively, but I think it was a very well representative committee of stakeholders within the community, residents, business owners, people representing different groups. And this plan was very focused on engagement, and we engaged the public in multiple ways. We started this process, when we started this process earlier in the year, we were more concerned with having in-person meetings, so we started with more virtual options, virtual online meetings, virtual steering committee meetings, online surveys, and then as we've transitioned throughout the year, we were able to have some in-person open houses, in addition to more online surveys. Most recently, there was an open house back in November to review the future land use plan. And again, this was an in-person and was able to get people to see the plan and comment along the way. As far as the plan content, we reviewed the previous plan from 2016 and wanted to refresh it where needed, but not completely overhaul it. We like to look at this update as more of a refreshment than, a starting from scratch. But with that, we did make some strategic updates. We revised the transportation chapter from 2016 is now called the mobility chapter because we wanted to address more multimodal options as that's becoming more in trend and where we want the future to go. We have separated the people and housing chapter so we could go into both of those topics a little bit more. And we wanted to focus on the quality of place and the community-oriented third places. As far as the future land use map goes, that was reviewed and updated as needed. These are a summary of some of the changes that were made to that map. Most of the changes were made to reflect development patterns and changes over the past 5 years, and to reflect the vision of where the township sees development going. The plan is separated into these thematic chapters. Each chapter has its own set of goals and strategies. These goals were reviewed and tested with the steering committee and the public, and were updated and refreshed based on those comments. So these are just the goals. And then in addition, the land use categories as part of that future land use map were also reviewed and updated, like I said, to kind of reflect current trends and then the future vision. So this are just kind of running through those land use categories. And again, if there's any questions about these, we're happy to go into more detail, but I'm gonna just kind of scan through those. And that really concludes kind of the high-level summary update of the plan. So I'm going to turn it back to PJ unless there's any other questions or anything you want to discuss at this time.
All good.
All right.
Thank you.
So again, Zoning Commission did recommend approval of this plan as outlined in the resolution before you this evening. The plan will serve as a guide for development decisions. It was developed by a 40-member comprehensive plan steering committee that represented business owners, stakeholders, and residents from the community. We did have, as Liz mentioned, we did have a few public engagement opportunities and to keep our residents involved, and was developed upon background reports and information that was available on the website. And it does embody recommendations found in previously approved township and regional plans. So with that, we do recommend approval of the 2021 comprehensive plan update. And I can answer any questions that you all may have.
I move to,
Hold.
you got a question?
No,
Sorry.
but it's a public hearing.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Someone else might want to say something. PJ, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing for the comprehensive plan, so if anybody would like to address the board with comments, they may do so at this time. Just on the comprehensive plan.
Yes. Hi, Kevin Mishak, Holiday Hills. Does the comprehensive plan involve sidewalks? Thank you.
Yes.
You go ahead.
You can expand on it.
Yeah.
Yes, so we do have a section, a chapter known as mobility that does incorporate the recommendations of the previously adopted Anderson Trails Plan update, which was adopted back in 2018. So it does address the desire for sidewalks to be expanded in the township.
Redirect? Yes, I'm familiar with the Anderson Township Trail Plan. I'm actually asking about sidewalks outside of that plan. Like, for instance, on my street.
So within the comprehensive plan, it does take into consideration the Anderson Trails Plan as well as the Cleft Pike corridor study. So in the Cleft Pike corridor study, there was a proposed sidewalk extending from 8 Mile Road over to the east on Anderson Cove Lane. At this time, staff has engaged with Choice One Engineering to find an alternate route for that along Holiday Hills Drive and Cleft Pike. as opposed to going from 8 Mile Road to Anderson Cove Lane. That plan it's still in the process. We have sent out letters to the residents, but it's not at the final stages yet.
If I may, just to follow up on PJ's comment. So
Hey,
the
Kevin.
question I believe that Mr. Misek is raising relates to sidewalk expansion beyond the trails plan. That is the question that will be addressed this year. The plan, this comprehensive plan talks about updating the trails plan, and we had intended to start a conversation with the board prior to the storm, the winter storm, not the storm we're currently hearing above us, that we had 2 weeks ago. So we will revisit that with the board, but that is a recommendation coming out of this plan, is to expand and update that trails plan as we've done every 4 to 5 years.
Not just my street.
I realize that it's, that broad conversation in the context of Holiday Hills, Rambling Hills, and a couple other streets is what we intended to start with the board.
Sidewalks in general in Anderson Township.
Yeah.
Right. So the comprehensive plan is meant to be a general guide for the entire township. It's all encompassing of the entire township. And it doesn't get into specificities of, one single street, but it gives general guidelines on addressing mobility, not just sidewalks, but all forms of mobility. So we will be looking at that with the update of our trails plan, looking more specific segments of sidewalks and making recommendations as far as expanding that network beyond the current sidewalk. So to answer your question, yes, it is encompassed in the comprehensive plan, but it's very general and broad because the comprehensive plan is a broad document. It's a
But we acknowledge that there are older neighborhoods.
yes,
before
yes, yes,
code that don't
Yes.
have sidewalks at all.
yes.
Would like sidewalks.
And that is a conversation that came up during the planning process and one that we'll explore through the trails plan to get into that general context and that question more so here.
Yeah,
We have a
Kevin,
lot
you
of streets that don't have sidewalks. So
You might find this hard to believe. There's also people in Anderson that do not want sidewalks in front of their house.
I do not find that hard.
Thank you for your question. Anyone else? All right. With that, I'll close the public hearing portion of the of this case. And is there a resolution?
I move to adopt the resolution of adopting the Anderson Township Comprehensive Plan update.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, this is great work. The planning, the involvement, the staff, the people, the 40 residents, all of the thousands of comments and things that we got. And this is a beautifully designed plan that's easy to read, simple, outlines the objectives, has beautiful pictures in it, which is great for people like me that don't like to read a lot. So thank you guys for all your work on this.
Yeah, thank you to the staff and to our consultants. And one of the things we did add this year is, when we hadn't done it before, was we got input from students. And that was pretty exciting. That was one of the things when we were designing this, how did we want to proceed, is we wanted to get input from students. And they told us, they were very vocal about what they thought. So it was good to hear from them. So that was great.
All right. Next up, oath of office for new firefighters. And Chief, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Tonight, the fire department has the privilege of bringing 3 new members onto the department via their being sworn in. They finished the recruit class in late 2021. Due to logistics, we are here tonight to have them sworn in. The first is Blake Rocky. He is a certified paramedic and firefighter with the state of Ohio. He comes to us from Woodline Fire Department, and he is trained at the hazmat operations level. We also have Jake Saunders, who is a certified firefighter and paramedic within the state of Ohio. He comes to us from Florence Fire Department. He is trained he has finished the Army Combat Medical School with the Ohio National Guard, and he finished the U.S. Army Leadership Course. Then we have Corey, the last of the 3. He is a Ohio certified firefighter and paramedic. He comes to us from Bethel Tate Fire Department. He is a fire instructor, a CPR first aid instructor, and a state certified fire inspector, which we appreciate. So at this time, if Mr. Dietz would administer the oath of office, please.
Would you like to stand over by the flags? Gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to administer the oath of office to you all. So if you will raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name. Do hereby swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Ohio. Policies and procedures. Of the Board of Township Trustees. Trustees of Anderson Township. And to ethically and faithfully discharge the duties of my office. Congratulations.
You should. How many of those have you done?
Got that down?
Well, Bill's still here.
All right. We'll move into our public forum portion of the meeting. If anyone would like to address the board on any other topics, including sidewalks, you're welcome to do so.
And actually, I didn't come here to talk about sidewalks, though I know Steve and Paul are working on it. So, somebody else mentioned sidewalks. I'd actually wanted to recognize the sheriff and his staff. Recently, since I didn't get a sidewalk, I had asked one of the deputies with a speed detection trailer down the street from my house if it would be possible to have it somewhere in what I consider the better location. Deputy Hoover and Deputy Hayes made that happen, although they did make one comment of our speed detection trailers. That happened to be the one they provided me one actually can record information about the traffic, but all the rest of them can't. So they're just little signs that tell us the speed, but they don't really tell us anything about traffic patterns or things like that. So I encourage Deputy Hayes and Deputy Hoover to kind of maybe explore those costs and put forth a proposal that I would support, because frankly, since those pedestrians are in my street, I have to dodge around them, and hopefully everybody else is going slow enough we don't run into each other. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Thank you, Kevin.
I gave you a suggestion.
What, tennis ball?
Water balloons. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great, and it's good to see everybody. Most of you know me. I want to also acknowledge the new trustee, Lawston. I will say that I've been out here a number of times, and it's all the trustees and everybody else in the audience have always been pleasant to me, so I'm sure you'll enjoy that as well. My name is Glenda A. Smith, and I'm running for Hamilton County Juvenile Court Judge because Hamilton County Juvenile Court is 30 years behind the rest of the country and 12 years behind the rest of Ohio in juvenile justice reforms that are more humane, effective, and efficient while keeping the community safe. I've seen the impact of these reforms in Montgomery County, Franklin County, Summit, Cuyahoga, and I would like to see those reforms here. But I can't do it by myself. We can do it together, though. So I ask that you go to glendaforjudge.com and join the campaign so that we can bring these reforms here. I have 20+ years of experience fighting for the rights of children and family in state courts, including juvenile court, in federal courts, including the United States Supreme Court. I did not get this privilege by myself. I have had the support of my family, my church family, teachers, professors, and others. I understand the obstacles that people face. I was raised by a single parent in public housing. I was a teen mother, but I do have a bachelor's in criminal justice, a master's in public affairs, and a doctorate in jurisprudence. I have 4 children. My oldest child has a master's in social work, and my son is a journeyman electrician and member of IBEW Local 648. My 3rd child graduated from Wellesley College in 2020, and my 4th child is in her 2nd year at Howard University. And all of these things have occurred due to my faith, work ethic, and charity. So if you want a judge that understands children, families, and obstacles, then I'm that person. Again, go to glendaforjudge.com and see how you can join the campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Linda.
you. Thanks for coming.
Well said. Always enjoy when you join us.
Thank you, Josh.
I always just appreciate the passion for the young people, our most vulnerable, and you being their voice. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? You sure? All right. Trustee comments? Anything from you guys?
Well, I just want to thank our road crew. As everybody knows, we had a heck of a storm, not the one we just had, but the ice storm and I thought all roads were as clear as ours, and then I got to the edge of Anderson and the city, and I'm like, it was quite dangerous. But I had just been driving around Anderson for a couple of days, and I just figured they all look like that, and they didn't. So thank you. That's what the taxpayers want, and you guys did a great job. I know it was a lot of late night, but we appreciate everything you did.
Second.
Yeah, I echo that. And I think, too, especially because I live in a cul-de-sac, in the neighborhood of 50 cul-de-sacs, and it's always safe for me to leave if I needed to, get something for the girls, and it's something that you could take for granted, and I appreciate that privilege. Thank you.
I was going to say, I mean, let's face it. I was there for a good hour watching you.
I want to go next time.
Yeah.
That was fun. All right. With that, Ken Dietz, you're up.
Thank you. The first thing, we have financial reports in our packet. Not a lot of activity, but we did receive some revenues from the county auditor's office for the real estate tax collection. I think we have over $4 million. Those will start coming in more and more, and we probably already have some in for the month of February. So we'll have more financial reports next month and should show more of the revenues. Jennifer Baker, my assistant, and the administration and department heads have been working on the 2022 permanent budget preparation. We feel that we are almost completed it, but there will be some changes, some things that we will find out in the next couple of weeks. I think we have almost another month before we have to approve it, and we will be making some changes just to fine tune it. But the most of the work has been done thanks to, like I said, Jennifer, administration, department heads. They've all been working and cooperating. So it's been an easy process this year. We're, like I said, almost a month ahead of time. So, and we will be approving that at our next regular meeting in March. And I think we have some minutes for the last couple meetings.
I'll do these because Lexi, you weren't here. I move to approve the minutes from December 16th, 2021 and December 6th, 2022.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
I'm recusing myself.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Margaret, anything from the law director's office?
No report.
Thank goodness. Paul Drury, anything else from planning and zoning? All right. Lieutenant Dan McElroy.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
First thing before you should be a liquor license request for Pelican's Reef. This is a transfer request for new ownership. The only big change in this would be that they are adding back on Sundays. They were closed or not selling on Sundays, but now they will be. The Sheriff's Department has no objection to this.
Okay. I will move not to object to the liquor license transfer request for Shan-Yu LLC for Pelican's Reef located at 7261 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
And my second thing is, before you should be a resolution for the purchase of 3 new 2022 Explorers. Typically every year, we add 3 new vehicles into the fleet, trading in the old ones to keep the fleet new. I'll say that the ones they're replacing are at or over 100,000 miles, so it's time for them to get replaced. And these will be 3 Ford Explorer all-wheel drives. I can tell you with driving through the ice the last storm, they worked out pretty well. At least I made it to work back and forth without problems. So. Also in that we have trade-ins. So the price for each after the trade-ins will be down to $20,717 for each vehicle. So pretty good deal, I believe. That resolution's in front of you.
Okay. I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of 6 surplus motor vehicles pursuant to Section 505.10 of the Ohio Revised Code and the purchase of 3 motor vehicles pursuant to Section 505.101 of the Ohio Revised Code and authorizing the credit of the selling price of the surplus motor vehicles against the purchase price of the new motor vehicles.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Eric, Public Works.
Good evening. I actually have a couple things tonight. Well, start off, thanks for the nice words for the snow removal. Crews did a great job. But, first up, we have the 2022 curb replacement project for this year. So on February 9th, the Public Works Department opened bids for the 2022 curb replacement project. You should have those bids attached in your folder there. But the published estimate for the work was $3,190,000, and the recommended bid total came in at $2,981,151.20. The department reviewed the bids for content and complete list to establish the best and lowest responsive bidder. And based on that analysis, I would like to recommend award of the project to R.A. Miller Construction Company Incorporated for the amount of $2,981,151.20. And furthermore, a 10% contingency of $298,115 will be added to recommend to cover any unforeseen conditions outside of the original scope of that work. And that is before you this evening.
I move to accept the bid of $2,981,151.20 from R.A. Miller Construction Company Incorporated, deemed to be the most responsive and responsible bidder for the 2022 curb replacement project in accordance with the bid plans and specifications, together with a 10% contingency for a maximum appropriation of $3,279,266.20 in 1994 TIF funds Further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the township administrator to give timely notice of award to the contractor and, after consultation with the law director, to enter into contract with R.A. Miller Construction Company Incorporated in accordance with their bid for the 2022 curb replacement project.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up, we have our 2021 annual road report. Every year, we are required by Section 450104 of the Ohio Revised Code to submit a copy of our road inventory to Hamilton County Engineers Office on an annual basis. This report has to contain a mileage verification along with a condition report of all the entire inventory. Last year, we had 121.839 miles of township roads. In 2020, we added 3 new subdivision roads: Parkside Lake Drive, which increased by .176, Forest Edge Drive, which also increased by .176, and Coldstream Club Drive, and that mileage increased by .20. ODOT has been working with Hamilton County and the townships around here. They have a new location-based response system. Is a computer-generated system that's tracking. It's a better tracking system for the road mileages that we have, that everybody has actually. And that process caused a few changes in our road mileage for this year. And based on those new calculated process, the bulk mileage change was a negative 0.314 miles due to that whole process. So the total township mileage for this year is 121.525 miles as of 12/31 of 21, and that's before you for your consideration this evening.
I move to certify the 2021 annual, 2021, right?
Yes.
Okay. 2021 annual road mileage as submitted by the Ohio Department of Transportation in the Hamilton County Engineers Office and as kept on file in the Township Public Works Department and Fiscal Department.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all I
Eric,
have.
I remind you, we need that for our tax budget, so I'm going to keep copies of it. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. Chief, anything else from the fire department?
Nothing from the fire department.
All right. Vicki?
Yes, Ms. Parker has the first item. As we do this time each year, we review our property and casualty insurance needs. As you know, we've been with OTARMA, which is an acronym for the Ohio Township Association Risk Management Authority. They have been providing our property and casualty insurance for, well, the 27 years I've been here and a few years longer. So we have generally had a good experience with them. They are a nonprofit entity. It's a purchasing program basically for Ohio townships to secure insurance coverage. With that comes the benefit of it's not a profit-making entity, so our rates tend to be better than if we were to purchase coverage through a private insurance provider. We get a number of things that I consider an added value. We get legal advice. We get some training modules and different programs from them. Some of them that are federally required, such as sexual harassment, fraud, and ethics training can be provided through them. So it's a good added value. We get a good bang for our taxpayers' dollar with this. So with all that being said, I would recommend, unless the board has questions, I would recommend that we once again renew our coverage with them for this upcoming plan year.
I move to authorize the renewal of the township's property and casualty insurance coverage with the Ohio Township Association Risk Management Authority for the 2022 policy year.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item we have for the board's consideration relates to a SORTA transit infrastructure grant that the township was awarded. The voters of Hamilton County in May of 2020 approved Issue 7, which was the sales tax for transportation or transit-related infrastructure improvements.
That first round of grants were awarded. There were 22 municipalities that received over $220 million in funding, including Anderson Township. The township received an amount of $340,524 for sidewalks along Elston Road. The township, the Board of Trustees, agreed to fund $34,052 for matching funds from our 1994 TIF program. The board had previously taken action to authorize application for this grant. They were made aware of that grant application. The authority to sign the grant was supposed to be requested on February at our interim workshop meeting, when the meeting was canceled due to snow and ice. So Mr. Girth and Brad Bowers, one of our planners who put together the grant application, a very successful grant application, we attended the transit SORTA signing ceremony last week. So I am asking that the board ratify my signature on that grant application. There's a resolution before you.
I move to approve the project grant agreement with SORTA related to the construction of an Anderson Trails link along Elston Road from Beachmont Avenue, State Route 125 to Spindle Hill Drive, committing local matching funds to the project and ratifying action taken by the township administrator with respect to the execution and delivery of the project grant agreement.
Second.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
And if I may take a moment to brag on our planning staff. We have planners. We have certified planners. Eric, you don't get all the love tonight. But we're one of the few communities that invest in these planners. And their efforts, not only putting together the comprehensive plan, but putting together the individual plans and applying for these grants is what makes our sidewalk project so viable. It's what makes our township such a great place to have a good quality of life for not only our residents but our businesses. And again, Brad Bowers worked in conjunction with Paul Drury and the planning and zoning staff to put this together, so kudos to them. I had the easy job of signing it, so thank you.
With a really cool pen, too.
With a really cool pen.
Did you get to keep it?
I kept the pen, and I gave the leather folder and to Brad. And we also have a plaque that was given to the township that is in our pseudo trophy room at the front of the building. So. The next item on the agenda is Center for Local Government membership. The board has been a member of the Center for Local Government since 1990. Center for Local Government is a consortium of local villages, cities, townships, counties that work together to share information. We have a ability to have a public works mutual aid pact through the Center for Local Government. A benefit to the taxpayers is we are able to join the Center for Local Government health insurance pool, which keeps our health insurance costs for our employees down. There are a number of training opportunities that are offered through the CLG. In fact, one of our other planners, PJ Ginty, has been accepted into the Leadership Academy this year. This program helps to identify future leaders. So when folks are looking for individuals to run the township in the future, we could look to our future leaders. PJ is going to be taking that class over this coming year. We have 5 other individuals that have graduated from that Leadership Academy, so we're very pleased with that. In all open transparency, I am also on the Center for Local Government Board. I was elected, this is my 3rd term, I believe, on the CLG board, representing all of the jurisdictions that are involved. The CLG board decided this year to lower the membership renewal rates due to the impact of COVID on the various communities. So what I have before you is a request to renew the township's membership in CLG at a 10% discounted rate, which equates to $3,442.50.
Right, take out that one. Yeah, take
Okay.
out the one.
Okay, I move to authorize the renewal of the township's membership in the Center for Local Government for 2022 at the annual rate of $3,442.50. What?
Yeah, just take out the one.
Oh, okay.
3,000, yeah.
$3,442.50.
Right.
Thank you.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. The last item for the board's consideration is an item arising from executive session. It is a resolution regarding my compensation.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing Anderson Township pick up the statutorily required contribution to the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System for the Township Administrator pursuant to IRC 414H2.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all we have for the board this evening.
All right. Anything else from you guys? Okay. Next meeting in this room will be St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Starts at 5 for exec. The fun in here starts at 5:30.
Okay. Wear green.
With that, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Forget the 50 cents on that last.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
That would have been.
Well, so then I'm looking at it like, wait, first is the comma in the wrong place? I know.